어떤 술집 세대 소다른 도나라 시우지 내 전부 지순 거래. 술집 때문에 그런 어떤 렌스 소리. 그런 술집 낼 때마지나 그 시작은 도대 동집에 가가지고 와대 계속해서 말해. 진짜 윤대 매나양. 즉 케일라비 좀바디 아부 중이나 미 파저 그런 그런 남다든 잘려온도 가라 말하지 그래서 송도와 술림 때문에 그런 어떤데 지탈 뿜자라지 너미롱 말해. 뿜바 차보지 아니 버지 랑실라서 받는데 지 상부장이라 너도 미롱하나진 아니 술림 잘와대 아니 배다 가축이 개와 탐적이 지던데 용 말해서 타지도 송래. 어떻게 인도가라 시보지 내첨벌에 어떻게 배갑네 나란수 센디 잠마인 봐. 치만 펜젤라 펜바지 중국이나 술림대 송고야 돼. 내첨부 차대야 돼.
The importance of this ethical discipline has been, mentioned many times in the sutra of the, individual liberation vows. In the sutra, it talks about, mention fully ordained, monks with the good practice of ethical discipline. They have a physical appearance like, lights coming out from their body, very radiant. And just from their physical appearance, they have, kind of a charming, dignified, very different from ordinary people. And it also used the example of just like a broken or tainted vase cannot hold some kind of jewel or nectar inside that kind of vase. Individual, without having a proper ethical discipline, cannot hold the virtuous, positive activities. So, using that kind of metaphor, it emphasized the importance of the practice of ethical discipline. And obviously, this is not something that is needed only for this lifetime, but for long-term attaining of the liberation and enlightenment as well.
다음은 숨바 수백을 넣어야 돼. 수바생인데 양원에 디레 내 그상 너도 빠져라. 너도 배나 시지도 인티디 티샤인데 가마. 저배 주상 담바 야친 톱줄때 저송도. 수바생인데 공바이나 가래요래 시디가라. 치마들라 주상부 땅. 담바미니 에니베 미템보 케파 아니 양타파 전달된바 다 담바들라 리망불 주초도와 오다 텐디기 에니페 직 윤댕 갸치모 망보 토브리 세숭도와 땅어연이 소리대 오다 때만이바 니 너도바 좀된다 랑기 숭겨르다 너도 베나도 디 오다 때만이바 우먼 주베나라 가라 저변 제신 겨 담발라 판단 리던 리민 셰발라서 수도와 저빠싱데 시부지 연랭이 전에 잡아이나 즉 겨치마니 베주상보다 되는 용나 저빠 공부하래 왔다 띵리게 저빠 아니 저배 미팅 쳐대 모셔가지 고고하래 저빠싱데 양 남배추기 따 냠는 쪼지 양 냠는 내 전부 샤대요래.
The next of the 6 practice of perfections is patience, and patience, as you know, is one of the main practice, main kind of critical practice in Buddhism, and many you can see across kind of text scriptures many advantages and benefits of having a good practice of patience. Geshe-la was saying he just looked at the a concise sutra, which was actually taught by Buddha himself. In that text, Buddha talks about the benefits of the practice of patience, having attractive physical features in future life, as well as it will have a result of making individual a great person. So great here could be interpreted in many different ways: reliable, meaningful person, a good person. Also in the engaging in the middle way text sort of mentions the same kind of points of the result or benefits of the practice of patience. Good looking physically, the result of patience, and makes that individual a great person, reliable, meaningful, trustworthy, all those positive. So, many kind of benefits of the practice of the patience.
오다 다 즈비 미팅 쳐대 못쳐내 야보래 즈비 미팅 쳐대 소소 공조당 지당인들 초당이 다디 전주나 세부 송리아래 전주 즈빌리우도 로기나 펜다용 그래 마라 쏘쏘 가리 두고 아래 젠 콘도스인데 당 제당댕이기 아니 가르쳐 맞아 레당 보아라 아니 람 꼬마키야란 게징에 그전 좀라 아니 배다 너바 치모 있네게 그전 좀 버징에 다 자체셔대 조당이를 해서 수도와 여러분이 준준한데 거라 세부 수도와 와다 람 꼬마키야라 조당이 라 디 님부지 때마도나 람 꼬마키 투야 라 팔절 가보지 그래 어떻든 니가라 공조당 제당니 나 즈베 미팅초 즈바 애니 게란 게징 쪼땡이래 어떻든니 아니 가르사 우먼 주베나 나니 준주나라 지나 칼바통 지나 칼바 야즈르 송요래 칼바 예네 콘르케지지 세케분네메지 세골다이 테니 윤지라 네페 칼바 예가 좀 그래스 지나라네 칼바 똥기가 좀 그래스 다데 야다 똥기 켜버 가르려 알았으니까 소시케오 나랑 자주기 셈다 네페 똥이 타발라 디마자메야 마카 미 나존데 지기 뉴문 치원 군렌지기 아니 콘르케바이나 칼바 똥기 같은 좀 좋아래 다 장주 세방문에 소절 또 소신이 인사다 소절 때는 기부 소람 중무소리지 왔다 때니 장주기 세바이나 소람 중무 때네 에베 즉 때니기 장주 세바 때도기 소절니게 장주 세바 때도기 아니 콘르게나 아니 칼바 예게 좀 그래 거래 때니 디가라 고 내 전부도 와 개와 두발라 같이 가능한지도 맞아 꼼디메베 지금 같이 지리 아니 니네에네 배 개와 두고래 세 람땡에 메 같이 지리 달랭 아주 니네지 중에 소소에네 배 개왕감에 레즈나 깔와상부 니네에네 배 때만 다 점린디가 지데테번 아니 고사 레미남된 주에캅 딘디지 칼랑 아주 딘디지 겨름지 까tum네 아니 가서 툭툭지 거기 졸라 카줘봐대 오늘 가서 안 버리 갈와상포 시디갈라 가와상포세 대시들레 시아티조 소소 뇽몰라 견들다네 뇽몰라 거는 버지조나 갈상 오네네 대시세야데 뇽몰 님번 로중 로아지조나 오늘 대시리 잠바세지 유기 열보래 잠바세지 생데 유기 개본 잡았으나 대시 군기 대시 빠따베 대시 년다가서 대시 도와 숨스 자기 도와 이 대시 군기 대시 빠지 당보 대시 당보대 녀몽 락바 원성소란 편적이 레 녀몽 레 락바티니 좀네 라담미 고방두긴 따키부 중이 저거든 리용고도가 차 너르도네 차상 대시 군기 대시 빠지 아니 군기 대시 빠지 디가라 기분 등기 저거 차상도 용고도 간지 녀몽 라바자 마임바 녀몽 참어 인제 땐니까 제니 tarbe 고방 설지 이자고도와 대신도 남 배기 리중데 낭비 최던데 리중 자들 낭비 최던데 리중 낭비 최세게 그 녀몽을 님보대기 취지를마다 이지 때빠르지제 애니베 라솔루솔 데솔르지제 제가 취지 말해 그 말해 녀몽을 님보대 근데 리중 거라니 녀몽을 님보대지 시행고도 애니 트라피 대시 년다가 있어 됐다 타마데 애니 녀몽대자 많이 봐 시디 애니 미니미 냥들은 거지 자도시 창교 고방 보다 디디수도 맞죠 대시들레시야 되나 오니 삼다나 거든 처부도 와 다가서 거든 맥혀지 닌 발게 켜대 보이는 가 되고 이제 말해 오니 전화 따들이 되지 디 과시 차베고는 지주이나 대시들레 시야 되가니 녀몽은 님부터 해지 예 죽도 살아와 와다든지 우거래 오늘 직다 상인행이 오늘 깔상래 말한소 달랭 딘디지 꼬갑 딘디지 라만 딘디지 태바데 할리비 꼬갑래 와다 꼬갑 레스 임바자 마임바 꼬갑데 나 두셔 당겨 말이 꼬갑 단신적으로 그래 꼬갑데 라빠이나 양결도 넣어야 가버려 어떻든 니가라 가서 툭툭지 녀몽의 쫀들 따니 니 집에나 댄댄 용거리 대나는 소주 말한도 소리 초당이들 견다고 하지 뺀 미습이 내지 모래
when looking at the opposite force of the patients, the two primary kind of the opposite is the hatred and anger, and we find this very detail explained in texts such as Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. There's an entire chapter on the practice of patience. And these two, hatred and anger, are the primary obstacles in attaining higher, path and realizations. And these two are the most strongest sort of prominent enemy in destroying the positive virtuous activities that you created. Again, in Shantideva's text and the engaging in the middle way path, we find the mention of one moment of anger, which is the duration of one snap time, can destroy positive activities that you have accumulated over 100 eons, and another text says 1,000 eons. So one moment of anger has that kind of power to destroy immense kind of positive virtuous activities that you created. The differences between these two kind of interpretation is that the 1,000 eons destructions is referred to the anger or hatred generated by ordinary people who are totally kind of enwrapped by all kinds of afflictions. So ordinary people with full of afflictions and delusions, having a one moment of anger and hatred will destroy positive merits that you have accumulated over 1,000 eons. Destructions of 100 eons is the destruction happens to the bodhisattvas, noble beings. Primarily bodhisattvas at the level of from the five path of preparation and accumulations. So when they have anger and hatred, even for a moment, that will destroy positive virtuous activities. There was collected through 100 eons. And when we look at the, that is too much. When we look at how difficult it is to create positive activities. Not having familiar in constructing and developing and planting, positive activities, for us, it's really difficult even to kind of, gather small amount of positive activities. And so therefore that kind of destructions is really kind of a huge loss for practitioners. And so this kind of understanding is needed, not just kind of again sort of intellectual understanding, but with the understanding then really implementing it in the practice, especially when we are when we have access to all this kind of study, understanding, having we might say very kind of past good karmic action, our timing being very auspicious, having the presence of a great truly spiritual teacher, the leaders of peace, His Holiness when he is alive, and his teachings available, and so auspicious in a sense that when you are able to take the opportunity and implement it correctly, then auspiciousness makes kind of sense. Otherwise, simply considering auspicious, there's no really benefit. And talking about the this auspiciousness, we find this mentioned 3 times in the king of the all tantric tantric or Vajrayana practice. The list the name of the Manjushri text. In that text, it talks about 3 repetitive words of the auspiciousness, and auspiciousness. These 3 auspiciousness refers to the first one, kind of freeing or liberating from gross level of afflictions, therefore attaining higher rebirth. When matching that with the practice of stages of Padanamparam, we find the first auspiciousness referring to the freedom attained by small scope practitioners, and then medium, the second auspiciousness referring to the attaining of liberation, stages of medium scope practice, and then third, attaining of refers to the attaining of highest enlightenment, the state of Vajradhara, and complete eliminations of all cognitive obscurations. Therefore, auspiciousness has been sort of defined in a very this narrow kind of matching with the stages and path, and more importantly kind of the different levels of the purifications of afflictions and defilements. So the Buddhist practice is not kind of making offerings and rituals related with kind of devils or god and goddesses. It's rather a practice based on how to deal with in our day-to-day life afflictions and negative destructive emotions. Even our common expressions of Tibetan greetings, Tashi-delek, when look kind of closer, can have that kind of meaning. So having a great meaning, and therefore that kind of expression of greetings can be used as an antidote for regular afflictions or delusions. And so His Holiness coming to our area is auspicious, but not kind of keeping or considering merely as an auspiciousness, but really kind of taking the opportunity and taking it seriously, holding it, using it well, and implement kind of this opportunity. and that actually makes auspicious something meaningful.
Wata dosre. 다 딘디기 초당인데 뭐 세보고네. 띠견들다네. 아니 소바곰 고래. 소바곰즈데 수 늦지 메나 너베킹인지 메나 소바곰 일코라요 말에. 소바달라네 늦을 재미님베 소바. 출렁이 시기 소바. 응월 당랭기 소바스 소바 넘바 숨숨도 와. 다 늦을 재미님베 소바스인데 아주 레다 땅볼 가셔도 되리. 숨가 가버려 돼. 늦을 재미님베 소바데 삼로 코리아 가요. 가사래. 도서. 가르잖아. 거기 답하기 늦지되게 무수 땅 아주 너밖에가 와래 지지가 와래 거기 너밖에인데 수소 조박없나 팽 가려야 돼 마토나 렘상 카드 잘 살아와 자일로 끼 살아와 딘딜라 지 늦을 재미님 베서바데 아주 오늘 우고 와래 따띠용 답 세깔링이 잡으는지 아니 배 장성 접어 먹어서 지인디 디디 땅 오네 저배 털도 친 인상 라바톰나 아니 배 장성 접어 마이 감바톰나 장성 접어 마이 인세 되는 숨기 정도 어떤데 따지 마태는 벌도 아주 삼땅고 와래 아주 게 르무치 숨거리 영화니마 나니 연로 선된 거나서 닝라니 나자마다 벌도 삼땅 거리 디 삼로치 따나 디니 낭베추게니 과다지 랩그레니 펜더용 그래서 숨고요 디 오늘이 양양도 삼로다니 제집지 양양도 삼로다 집지야데 시부지 개체머리 어다 딘디오 저바 넘버 숨디 오늘 직 단대에 배 아니 딘디 저바 넘버 숨도 고면이나 가려래 아니 소소라 자토 망아 소소 셈미투야 벤도 아니 쿠리운 다 튠디용야 딘딜라 다 즈비 젤레 쪼데 티치사 단대 갑도 되라 마음바나 따기 공도 주주래 존재보다 이 동화다 망부징어야 와데 우만주반의 숨도와 아니 단다 너들변의 숨도와 와다 또 쓰래
For the practice of patience, it is important to kind of identify and recognize the opposite, of the patience, which we said earlier, hatred and anger. With the proper understanding of hatred and anger, then there is a possibilities of practice of having a patience. Practice of patience is commonly categorized into kind of three different form, beginning with the patience of not retaliating against someone who harms you, non-retaliation. The second is willingly kind of endurance or willingly tolerance. And third is discriminative awareness of the Dharma. This is one translation, by the way. And from these three, for us ordinary people, the most difficult would be the first one. Not kind of, responding. The first one, kind of responding in the same way that you receive a harm from others. Why this is most kind of risky is unless or until you have a good understanding of the benefits of not harming in return, there is a strong likelihood that you will retaliate immediately. And that is really kind of that happens, commonly to ordinary people. And revenge, taking a revenge. Why there's a revenge is because that individual has no understanding of the opposite benefit of not taking a revenge. there's no proper understanding of the practice of the benefits of the patients, unless until as in the great liberating stories of the practitioners of patience, great practitioners of sage, patience, the name of the practitioner, we hear that when he got his hand cut off, asked a question, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm a practitioner of patience," and again cutting off a leg, and his response is always the same. Unless we reach to that kind of level of practice, we need to be making more effort in understanding the benefits, of and benefits, disadvantages of those hatred, anger, and patience. As Geshe-la's teacher Gyang Wanyima and Gyang Losang Samde used to say that contemplate, think over and over until you have some kind of pain in your heart, that level of intensity. And on the other hand, when you have a good practice of patience, short kind of temporary benefits, you will have more friends, stable mind, less disturbances of the mind, more kind of better, relationship with others, better harmony within the community. And those are all short-term benefits. On the long term, as we said earlier, having good physical, appearance, good looking, charming, all of those as mentioned in the middle way, engaging in the middle way text and the concise sutra by Buddha himself.
다 이문에 럽종 가로 얘기하지 마도 럽종 얘기 냠용 가로 튕겨지 마도 딜로 거르도야 가버려 다 그런 라렌스디 미치데 디수도 에게 론전 데비 갈셀라스 너제 탐제 린전 터다송 디칠군라 진짜 매바이 조바고 뭐 갈셀라린 저수도 다 된거네 오늘 강 팬바데 아니 디기 탐제기 자와인 베게위 게와 아니 베 가서요 와데 아니 롱전데 영인 강사지기 일라버래 왔다 땡디기 지기 내제 수수 너바쟁은 다다기 동안 내제를 지민이 메서 받더래 수수 너바쟁인 지여와 데페 울불나 때리냐 바나지레스 가서 초기 파자셔 울불 때리냐 바나지 때니 용거서다 달로 할레베 로톱 쳔보지 있다 코 남저 풀도 요 중화지나 마도 디용 들러차례 카보리 셈 주야 빼 카보리 나선에서 카보리디 딘데 인디가라 나랑서 로 곰바 말레비 디 카보이 나다 카르리 랑 유전 카세요레 망보여리다 지데 랑 진진 슈춤보리 나선에지나 랑 진진 슈춤보 아니 대왕기 나 생디 슈춤보 인상 아니 직제는 나 리그민도 시고로 난이 너밖에도 삼대기 대왕기 아니 용거 말 다 거기 딜도셔데 란ton 차상 뢰다니 진남 바지마다 선노 미코긴지 가자라 내제데 린젠 때르냐 바나지 원 차리요레 그 가르스나 센디서 많이 봐 깨워치만 벤질라 데니 대wan 롱인지 이게 미일때 진디요레 아니 단다 같이 연애야 뭐바나 깨워 치마들라 아니 빼 던린 주나 다 그바 춘춘지 던달라 그바 쳔베 던달라 춘춘을 땅에 용구로 와 베나 라판 나자 두자지 나 누구지는 나자 두자지 캡되나 디 아니 누구 탐절레 미캡에 던달라 누구지 쟤네 제 두구로 와 민남조 있는지 남자 매겐지 제 두구 말와 개발돼서 그러지래 왔다 땡디 리가라 오늘 장주 세바 세나민도 남주 연댕에 로또 연댕에 되게 냠는데 답배 늦제데 동al taleng이 좀 가르사 늦제리 지민이 배서바데 답 쪼땡인 거사래 보다 대인도 들릴린 너바쟁인데 린진 떨냐 받는 거 용그리 가서 개그리 도와키그리 세순고 알아야 돼 된디 들어가랑 안 한서 이나 몰람 순진이 갓지 어다 된디지 요나 된디지 좀나 된디지 좀사 몰람 순진이 갓 이양이양도 삼당 이양이양도 삼당 늦제 땡기 섭가 야름시 승도아 이게겐다 파말 때니 섭바고메요 말이스 섭바고메야 돼 달라테니 늦을 때니 섭바고모리 승도아 어다 때니 들어가라 어다 때기때 바게 양양도 삼당 공바지 도스진 양양도 빼자 람렘라로 랄렌스드마토로 디기로 삼다나 또서 소소 당부 대치점지 고아 차주 되니도 솔로는 디바이나 아니 그 명예지 인기 말에 인 명예지는 아니 물주 톰에 잠보 코나래 용외요 말와 물주 톰에 잠보 냠용고 더는 수인디 가라 콩라 데니 중이나 맞을라 데니지 다 렌더도 마선잖아 자그러 와 자와 강이 렌더라양 수거 인자 수다 베베 담페네 요래 데 케바스긴데 렌더 케마케리스 자와 강리잖아 렌더리스 렌더라니 베 케마케지 용그리스 수다 왔다 도스레 딘디가라 다 오네 디링 소파데 porto sarre 데 아니 맞아 살았다 돈다 가르쳐 거래 맞아 소파때야 돼 오늘 퍼진트는 내 체질이 양 다가주지 말해 어떻게 인디가 야네양도 고바지 야네양도 섬다 두스잖아 덴덴 아니 드린래 상인자 나니 다가지 덴덴 용도 하고 그래 아니 매주 맞아는 꼭 따가래 미세 깜보지 리다 달라 잡으시니 아니 삼마다나 고용해요 말이지 배 삼마다 야니양도 제바제한테 배 미스밖에 첨버려 와야 두시
Going back to the text, the practice of patience, verse 27. When you look at this verse, it would be something. What is mentioned here is sort of, practice of the practitioners who have reached a quite high level, and this is something, sort of beyond the reach of ordinary people like us. Verse 27 in your translation, it says, "For all bodhisattvas with mind set on merit, who wish to amass a great store of good deeds, encounters with those causing harm and destruction, which test their commitment, are minds of a great wealth. For this very reason, abundant resentment and anger directed towards those who do harm, perfect meditation on patient endurance. The sons of the Buddhas all practice this way." If I read a simple kind of a translation, to bodhisattvas who want a wealth of virtue, those who harm are like a precious treasure. Therefore, towards all cultivate patience without hostility. This is the practice of bodhisattvas. Why, somebody needs kind of quite in-depth experiences of the patience in order to have this kind of practice. As mentioned in here, two good practitioners of the patience, meeting somebody who is giving you pain and harm is like finding a precious treasure. It's something very rare, and they embrace it, they welcome it, they are so happy. It's like a poor person, kind of finding a precious treasure. But that is not the same case with ordinary people like us. and extremely difficult, to have that kind of response when we are encountered by people who are harmful, mean, and abusive. Again, here there are many reasons why there's sort of this huge gap between the mindset of ordinary people versus what is mentioned here, the practice of bodhisattvas. Among many different reasons, primary one is our very strong self-cherishing thought. There's always thought of importance of I and me. I can be hurt. I can be harm. So very strong egocentric thought is one of the primary kind of factor in not embracing harm and able to have a good practice of patience. In this kind of practice, this is a practice done by true practitioners who are completely kind of capable of giving everything for the sake of others. What they have is thoughts of cherishing others, completely dedicated towards others, and they have understanding of the long and short-term benefits. By giving up something good for the sake of others who are harming you brings actually benefit in the long term. They see in the long term there's a benefit of in this kind of reacting positively in this kind of situation. So it is for them like giving up small things to gain a good big result in the future. A simple example would be somebody who has cuts on their finger and it's kind of gradually spreading towards the rest of the body. To that individual, the intelligent way is cutting off that finger, giving up for the sake of saving entire body. So for bodhisattvas, that is how they look at the situation, and that kind of act, saving your entire body by cutting off a finger, is an intelligent decision. So from the three types of patients, this is primarily kind of explaining or dealing with the first type of patients, not retaliating, somebody who is harming you, but in fact doing kind of exact opposite, embracing them, receiving it, brings an immense joy, as if kind of finding a precious treasure to people, going through poverty. Therefore, what is mentioned here seems to be something very far out of our reach, but we can at least kind of begin with making wishes, prayer, and gradual kind of contemplation, over and over thinking will definitely kind of improve our way of thought process, mindset. And looking at this and then comparing that with how it is explained in the more detailed commentary, like Lamrim, Stages of Path text. These are something that is possible. Without possible, the author himself wouldn't have said this in here, and he wouldn't have the same experiences. And if he can gain this kind of practice through regular effort, why not us? And in fact, the practice of patience must come from people that harms you. As His Holiness says, you don't need a practice of patience towards people that love you, that care you, like your parents, like your teachers. Patience is actually needed only to somebody who you hate, whom you kind of dislike and hostile to. So therefore, kind of when having this kind of understanding, not just kind of starting your own action, from today onwards, and gradually it might get better, as time goes by, and then you will reach the point where somebody harming you, and your response won't be so negative as it used to be. So with that, we are done with the second, the third practice of the sixth perfection. I'm sorry.
어디 그실랑리 탐박에 송도왔어. 강라다게 펜다베 레왁차와 간시 신도미리 너제나 신인다 바타워서 송도왔어. 돈다리디 지부지냐 레스. 아니다 दूसरे नहीं जम जालो चीज 발제 눈바이나 제바인 눈바이나 두바인 지레 강라다게 펜다베 레와서 신도미리 너제나 신인다 바타워서
so this is now
수수파 펜도지 늘렌데 펜베 두고 거든 펜베 마두진 수더는 너바끼게나 텔 미시게 네페 수수 신인나 질다고 거서 순거든 다들
same kind of mentioned in the 8 verses of Transforming the Mind by Geshe Langritamba. This talks about when you benefit and help somebody else, and that individual, instead of kind of returning the same favor, if he or she is returning with more kind of harming to that individual, you should be giving more kind of special response with love and kindness and positive, and because those require that kind of response. So he says in the verse 6 of the 8 verses of Transforming the Mind, in short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness, directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. Mounties.
강라다게 펜다베 레와차와 간시 신도미리 너제나 신인다 바타워서
Ale.
dumpa
Shiva. So this one is number 4. When one whom I have benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. So instead of kind of harming back, you should be looking at look at that individual as an excellent spiritual teacher. And again, this kind of tells specifically from the 3 types of, or 3 forms of patience. The first one, not retaliating someone when hurts you. So we will stop here for today.
I didn't catch it when you explained about it. 3 types of practices of patience. So can you restate the 3rd type, and also can you elaborate on that, please?
Sebaya sumda hagomaso sa sumgene mixegia sumba de cholangi shege sebala del teshedi skero chilo.
다들 가르사 너절에 지민이 비서봐 동al 땅랭이 있어봐 아니 출랭이 시기 있어봐서 최주발라 가제 망부지어와 말한도 있나 옴지게나 karma 추정하게나 디바 나온 디바 나온 망부진 거다 리기 냉엘렌다 아기 냉엘렌 온걸 지 마다 받을는 다음에 연구하라 강할 망부여라 가리나 거다 대수간가 아니베 원이 출랭이 시기 있어봐서 강 팬바데 아니 두제 매지 과야보 싱네바야보 지원나 디디 애니페 칼릭 겹달라 같이 크게 어데 같이 칸 텔 트와잉이는 맞다 텔 두낭 리그 마레스 쉐라니페 네바이 니아부 네베고니 쉐 돈디 돈이라 야보 중나 딜레니 쉐투베 칼라 같이 텔라 애니페 갓 가낭데 요마레 텔 트롱 트와레그레스
3 types of patience. The first one is not retaliating against someone who harms you. and second is willingly enduring suffering, and third is discriminative awareness of the Dharma. The third one, usually without having a good understanding of the Dharma, and then trying to make some effort, for example, trying to sit and do meditation, you encounter all kinds of uncomfortableness. There's a pain on your, back or leg, or it's really kind of. But that kind of patience, that kind of uncomfortableness or a problem won't encounter by somebody who has a good or a genuine understanding of Dharma. When you have a good understanding of Dharma, whatever effort that it is needed, you do it very kind of happily. You won't feel the difficulties in the journey of the practice of Dharma. No. Laura, you have a question?
So he said earlier in the teaching that practicing, it's actually a high level of practice when you are able to remain aware of your own thoughts, examining them properly, and noticing when they're mixed with any negative emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what you're studying or practicing, that's really practicing Dharma.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to make sure I got that correct.
냠len 체에도 당기 계실라 더 갈로 소소게 님은 셈나로다 지금 군운다지 체셔로 온데게 아니 니르니르 셈나로 삼로 차단된 주다지 체에 디 체스네 아니 다가라 냠len 차두고 오르는 지송수도 무랑기 딘데지 코스인데 다다르엘로 셈나 제바치네 지게 셈 갈로 오래
대서 냠len 쳐들에 간지 여름지도 숭도 취긴 빵랑 주도 제대 가르잖아 강 너바데 아니 방자레스 강 펜바데 줍자레스 숭도 펜밤 제와데 줍자 강 너바데 아니 방자레스 숭도 다 시규라 자레온도가라 강 뉴무 초데 슈 충루 땅 에투다 거위 초데 펠 에투다나 델냥 가르쳐요래 디들 왔다 나래래 연디가라 애니 셈 차라기 니체네다 셈 차밍을 냠버자 연디가라 디니다 터두기 냠는 텔레기 걸어 디올라다 뉴모라바데 마가바 뉴모 셈 차밍 못해 코나 요마르와 인디가라 스틸 냠는다 요 가제지 요마르 생도스 뭐니 데 냠는 남이 냠는 불중래 되는 지체도 왜 있나
So that kind of practice actually it's kind of a highest form of practice. We can say that in kind of knowing how to following what needs to be adopted and what needs to be abandoned, as His Holiness talks about whatever that brings a harm. Suffering is the one that needs to be eliminated, and whatever the happiness and joy are things that needs to be adopted. And when that applies to our kind of consciousness or our thought, then comes the root of the suffering and problems are the afflictions and negativities, defilements. So in your practice, doing this twofold practice, the first one is doing your best to reduce, to eliminate negative mentality. On the other hand, doing your best to promote, develop, increase a positivity. So there is no better practice than that. And then it becomes much more subtler when we talk with the when we take that into the level of the Vajrayana practice. Yeah.
So, Chenin, Geshe-la, so the whole concept of taking what's happening from the actions of somebody else and having a different understanding than my emotional reactivity to it, or what I would term as reframing of action, and reframing my own thought about what it is that's going on, changing it. To try and see some benefit in it. Would that come under the second, or maybe the level of going into the third of having some discriminating awareness, which is beyond. I think probably with the emotional impact that would be hard to do, but without emotions, with emotions tempered down, of seeing it differently, seeing it from their side, seeing it as a benefit to me, even though maybe it wasn't intended to be that. So would that still come under the second aspect of practicing patience? So you're enduring, but you're also shifting. I would be shifting my understanding of it to a great degree.
Söbegi nambasum nalon da murangi pesishna mission baji moral nebakesna any nebakedan di nobody any mission baki digi samadanda khanderedo any the kingi digi yamna chikna kanzu nebake yumar nebake in samsara shomar da kara murang samlu sujoro stanchinro nobody never my embaro ko chine dindege samadanda stangwashina di any söbe nyamne sumgine kagina chugo relodu tadi 동해 당len 쇠바 야 최근에 세계 디나로 여바로 스투사 지칼로레 지기 예번예다 중 예번예다데 지 예바로 녀스나야 칼로데 퍼저기 둥 칼로르 강에 되어디 퍼정은에게 대강에 뇌스라 누구의 삼사들의 마이네가 소소량 포에도 용식으로 내가 렌 소소가 삼로로 주주다 당치는 지칼로레 네버이 인바다 마인바다 삼당다 쇼라 디에네 수바나 버숨게네 카기 나로라 수고 나라도
미 파조 되게 너바수게 수수군이 답아 너바게 인도갈라 수수군이 사무 카리스탄네세
파조는 소소 너바게스는 파조네 소소 너바게데 에네게 퍼정은에게 너바케리즘 말다 너바디 퍼정은에게 직신한 강주 너바케스리 직신한 강주 너바케스리 음마로 소소은에 삼단 딜 교어로 당치네 지기 칼로레 규르주로 당치네 야 섭다로 소시네 오다 퍼저도 너바란데 게인사마데 네 칼로가 나라 너바도 포 삼야 삼로 교어다네 직 교어도 에쇼로 근데 교어도 단다 칼로다 모란게 삼단다 직 수베냐므는 저 임바 강시란데 수베 동에 당랭 도시나 야므나 추링에 셰도시 니가나 추교로 통고도서 된데 저외로도
뭘 땅 날다 레스마라 다 오늘 수시샘라 즈페 파인 토고니 에니 텐디 샘링 규치타나 슈랑이 신나라 판타타나 타초에도 차드라
So Kisha saying that not sure about kind of the second, including under the second one, willingly enduring suffering, but more specifically in your context, if you have some understanding of the benefits of the practice of patience, then definitely that kind of reframing would come under the third one.
대마인바다 zuba 곰디갈라 여러분이 때 nem부진 숭도 쓰러와 맞아 다 조조 맞아 레당보와라 너절이 재미님도 zuba티기 너바킹 거라 너바킹인데 너절이 재미님도 zuba트 장본 냠는 제도 땅보다 때리 다 너절이 너바 징행 강사당 너비 자와니라 개버체고래스 디 제바이나 이 강사들라 너바 징은들라 고 몸베 마리 비자만도 소래 아니 니루 마셰바레 니제 일레스 아니 자와텔라 돌렌체 거래스 때 맞잖아 파조되게 애니베 네 애니베 미지게 좀니 루스네 미망볼라니 베고 녜베 랑쇼르치네 미망볼라니 베 겐게 텐디나 이다 디디 애니베 바기들라 액션테나 텐진 놀린제 거래서 순고래스 대양 하고 거래스 대기 얼마 전에 뭐지 순고도스 대인데 전주세바도 디 전주세바가 에네베 가자고 딱 와야 돼 때봐 두고 와라 두야 돼 내가 돼 야, 남. 대대 싫어 내기면 니야가. 내 간절녀이. 말해. 균 내기면도 돼.
In His Holiness teaching on practice of patience, what he was saying, but before that, Krishna was saying that for us, ordinary people, the practice of patience that we need to focus upon, or that is most commonly faced by us, is the first one. The patience of not retaliating against someone who harms you. That is the most kind of obvious, most common, and we need to work with that. And so related to that, in His Holiness talk, he talks about we need to differentiate between the action and the doer when somebody is harming you. We need to differentiate the doer as an individual and then his action being kind of harmful. And when you look at the doer, somebody causing harm, that individual, he is doing that out of not knowing, ignorance, out of some afflictions. So therefore, to him, what is needed is compassionate, response, not kind of harming the same way that he did to you. The second, in terms of his action, definitely it requires some kind of action in return, so that you can stop that individual kind of doing it over and over and harming more and more kind of others. So therefore, we need to differentiate between these two: compassion towards the individual, but challenge towards his action, and that is what is done by the practice of bodhisattvas, looking at the all kind of big picture, entire picture. What is the object of negation? What is appropriate kind of response, and why and how? So all understanding is needed in kind of responding, to the somebody who is harming you.
간체 접배 냠내인나다 줄림니 냠내인나다 삼댕니 냠내인나 대주 냠내 깡갈라 새롭게 쪼매나 요 냠내 탈치마지 영화 가버리 딘디글라 남지 새롭게 쪼대 배 잡아지 구구하레스.
So whatever practice that is in the six practice of perfections, whether it is patience, whether it is ethical discipline, or concentration or meditation, these all must be accompanied by wisdom, intelligence, and without that, any of this practice won't be complete or fulfilled. No, it is.
Yeah. Kari rawe kurwe
shingam de pendan dewa malu jungwe ne chere ziwan tenzin gyazo shabe side bardo tenkyo jambe bawe jidra jemba da kwando zambo deyan de shin de da gunge jazo nalo jen gyawan de da tamje rabdo Tezum shabe gyawa tamje ge ngowa kangla chodo ngaba den da shin gewe tsawan di gunja sangpo cheje rabdo ngowa rayegi. In the line encircled by snow-white mountains, the source of all happiness and benefit flows in your person, Charisi, Tenzin Gyatso, remain the undulance of science. Just as the Bodhisattva Manjushri attained omniscience and Samandhara too, so now do I dedicate these merits to train and follow in their footsteps. As all the victorious Buddhas of past, present and future praise dedication as supreme, So now I too dedicate these sources of my merit for all beings to perfect good actions.